Stakeholder questions state government's flood rescue plans after use of helicopters in simulation exercise. Suspected call scare at Juru University sparks student security concerns. President Bola Tinubu hints at creation of state police. On the foreign scene, hundreds of women protest police abuses, wasteful spending in Indonesia. I'm Sam Chinedu, and the news continues after the break. October 13, 2025, a suit filed by a civil society group, the Initiative for Freedom, Conflict Prevention and Social Integration, FRECON. The group is asking the court to decide whether President Bola Tinubu can, under any circumstance, transfer the governor's powers in appointing the chairman and members of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISIEC. They also want the court to determine if the Rivers State Sole Administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibaz, has the authority to appoint RISIEC officials to conduct elections across the 23 local government areas. At today's hearing, the People's Democratic Party applied to join the suit, an application that was not opposed and was granted by Justice Turaki Mohammed. Meanwhile, counsel to the defendants raised a preliminary objection on the court's jurisdiction. FRECON's lawyer, Lezina Amigwa, confirmed the receipt and immediately filed a response. Justice Mohammed adjourned the matter to October 13, effectively moving it out of the vacation court. And while some stakeholders are making efforts to annul the council election, the elected chairmen have resumed work already. The chairman of Akukutoro local government area, Aboya Bob Fubara, who was sworn in yesterday, is now charging the councillors in the council to always put the interests of the people first when making bylaws. He gave the charge at the swearing-in of the 17 councillors at the council headquarters in Abonima. Mr. Bob Fubara also promised that his administration will support the lawmakers in their legislative duties without interfering in their duties. After the inauguration, the councillors elected Daye Bob Manuel as leader of the 10th Legislative Assembly, Timmy Clinton as deputy leader, and Chidinma Ikere as chief whip. Still talking politics, but now at the national level, an Abuja-based political scientist, Simbo Olorufemi, has advised the national leadership of the PDP to avoid what he calls a legal trap by members loyal to the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike. His comments follows warnings by the PDP Governors Forum that it will deal decisively with any member trying to derail the party's national convention. Olorufemi urged the PDP leadership to reach a compromise with the group to avoid fresh litigation.
All the way back to 2023, maybe if they had moved decisively since 2023, they will not be where they are today. I would think it is coming too late. They are left with no choice but to stand their ground. When we say it is coming late, what we mean is that eventually it might not serve them well in the end, them being able to achieve something substantial from the 2027 election. But what it means is that take action now, then they will be able to have firm control over the affairs of the party.
He also said threats by the party against its members will not yield any political results.
the court's going to come in, because even the convention that we're talking about, it's quite possible that the wicked people will proceed to court and try and get an injunction that will stop the party from holding the convention. Once they take action against the wicked faction, those ones are likely going to proceed to court. It's a no-win situation for them. I think that might save them sometime. It let go and believe that they will have enough delegates from other parts of the country. Same way they made compromise by letting Damagum continue to hold on and letting Samaya continue to hold on as national secretary.
Let's return home to talk about flooding, where a former coordinator of the Ngeni Flood Disaster Response Organization, Dr. Eniata Abieba, is questioning the use of a helicopter and other equipment during last week's flood simulation in Mbiama, Ahoda West local government area. Dr. Abieba said while the simulation was commendable, he wondered if the government would actually deploy helicopters and gunboats to rescue farmers and residents when flooding occurs. He spoke to correspondent Onyeka Chinwosu.
The issue is that when the flood is full-blown, would there be opportunity for them to provide enough helicopters? Will they have the opportunity to provide enough gunboats to rescue the people? And we are aware that the flood attacks even farmers in the bush. The flood attacks even people who are wading through the water along the roads and process. Some communities are situated, in remote places. How could this demonstration be expanded enough to cover such victims?
He also faulted the claim by the State Sole Administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, that his administration had begun upgrading IDP camps.
There is no IDP camp. Say this is provided by government for the purpose. It is discouraging for government to always be talking about IDP camp. I want to believe that if government is providing an IDP camp, they were supposed to publicize it. As far as I know, there is no IDP camp. As far as I get concerned, no IDP camp. Let them come out to tell us that when flood is coming, they use school, they use community halls, they use health centers as IDP camps. For instance, Ahoda West is considered as most impacted. There is no IDP camp. Whenever flood is coming, like in Akinima, we have a standard hall, community hall. They will just go there and pin a signboard and talk about IDP camp. The innovation was done by the former chairman, Honorable Iyeko Ikporo. It was not done for the purpose of IDP camp. It was done for giving a safe lift to the environment. Town halls are used for meetings. Like this Akinima town hall is used by our people when there is flood. The committee will open the town hall for them to go and stay. At Mbiama, they always use the primary school.
He said flood victims in Akinima sleep in the community town hall recently renovated by the former council chairman, while flood victims in Mbiama take shelter in the community school.
There is no IDP.
Remain vigilant against democratic usurpers who seek to undermine the rule of law and trample upon the right of the citizens. No force, coercion, or emergency decree disguised as governance.
Apologies for that mix-up. As you may know, the River State government, in partnership with NEMA, carried out the simulation exercise in Mbiama last week. Also, during the visit of NEMA officials to the government house in Port Harcourt, the sole administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, said the government had started upgrading IDP camps and would soon begin silting canals and drainages in Port Harcourt and its environ. Still talking environment, sanitation exercise in River State will be held this Saturday. River State Waste Management Agency, RWAMA, made this known. Recall the exercise was moved because of the August 30 local government elections in the state. RWAMA Board Chairman, Mr. Wanosike, in an interview said RWAMA will undertake cleaning exercises in any business premises or compound found dirty with a cost charged to the owners. He had also announced a restriction of movement during the exercise. But not everyone is pleased with RWAMA's sanitation directives. A legal practitioner, Chizi Enyi, had faulted the directive of the new management board restricting human and vehicular movement during the sanitation exercise in River State. In an interview, Enyi said the move amounts to a violation of citizens' fundamental human rights, especially as both the High Court and the Court of Appeal had already ruled against such restrictions. He further questioned the legal authority of RWAMA to issue movement passes even to those on essential duties.
On issue of sanitation exercise, there ought not to be restriction. You can't restrict people's movement. That is it. Apart from the fact that there is a law not restricting people's movement, there is also judicial interpretation as to that. The High Court has given judgment and it was also affirmed by the Court of Appeal. What is the reason to restrict people's movement? Even when you know that others who have done it, damages were paid to those who went to court on that issue.
Another legal practitioner, Ndamzi Ekulo, who also faulted the restriction, describing it as unconstitutional and illegal. He said Justice Omotosho of the Federal High Court has already declared such restrictions unlawful.
The Rewama Act 2014 can be superior to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Federal High Court, in the case of Barrister Prince Azubike against the Attorney General of Rivers State, Rewama, and Commissioner of Police Rivers State, Justice Omotosho held that restriction of movement in Rivers State on the last Saturday of every month under the guise of environmental sanitation exercise is illegal, unconstitutional. So we should be guided in whatever we are doing.
We'll take a break. Coming up next, we'll tell you more about the suspected cult issue in Ajuri University and the president's plan on state police. Stay tuned. Back. Labour unions say they will engage the federal government over its plan to introduce a 5% surcharge on fossil fuel products from January 2026. National Industrial Relations Officer of Pengasan, Dr. Eze Ifeanyi, said this to correspondent Suebi Ruwari. He, however, added that the policy is aimed at raising more revenue for the government, not discouraging fuel consumption.
Trying to discourage people from using the only source they have. So are you saying they shouldn't live again? That excuse, I believe, is to make more money for the government, not for any discouragement. You know that any additional tax on the citizen now is not the best. As an organization, we will actually not support that for now because that is going to increase the inflation. By then, there should be more engagement.
But oil and gas economist Kingsley Egbuson warned that the surcharge will indirectly push up the cost of living for Nigerians.
Before a government should come up with such policy, they should have an alternative. But currently in the country, we only rely on fossil fuel as most of our energy needs. This shows an inelastic demand for petroleum products. So this inelastic demand, once you impose tax, the incidence of taxation or the burden of taxation falls on the consumer. It's a policy which they did not research or which they are concealing the actual nature of their intention.
He urged the government to explore other ways of discouraging fossil fuel use before the new tax law takes effect.
Best ways to reduce the consumption of petroleum products is like providing a constant source of domestic electricity. Once you do that, the issue of gallons and generator demand, plant demands would reduce drastically, and that's a good percentage of petroleum consumption. So I wonder why I think of increasing the cost, which would result to increasing the prices of goods and commodities.
Recall that the federal government had announced a 5% tax on fossil fuel sales as part of the new law, effective from January 2026. According to the new law regulations, Nigerians are expected to pay for a 5% surcharge that is chargeable on fossil fuel. The surcharge excludes clean or renewable energy products, household, kerosene, cooking gas, and compressed natural gas. To education stories now, the Congress of University Academics, CONUA, Ignatius Ajuri University of Education, chapter, has commended the Rivers State government for commencing the payment of newly employed academic staff members. Speaking with correspondent Nnamdi Samwala, shortly after the union's Congress, the IAUE chapter chairperson, Dr. Oliver Barato, appreciated the Vice-Chancellor of the institution, Professor Okechukwu Onuchukwu, for efforts in ensuring the prompt payment of the new academics.
We commend the government of Rivers State for the payment of our new academic staff. We had felt sympathetic to the staff because they've been here since March without salary, and the government has deemed it necessary to pay. The efforts of the university management to ensure that the staff were paid cannot also go unappreciated because without their efforts, this may not have been possible. We also wish to commend the new staff for their patience and perseverance for this period that their salaries were not paid.
While also commending the federal government for initiating the Tertiary Institution Staff Support Fund, an interest-free loan scheme, CONUA further appealed to the state government to consider the improvement of staff salaries.
We also appeal to the government to look at improvements of our salary structure because the last time the minimum wage was announced, the government deemed it necessary to give us 85,000 naira, but the new economic reality as at now has made that almost worthless. We want to also state that we, the members of the Congress of University Academics, have resolved that we will take advantage of the new staff support fund which the federal government approved for development of academic staff.
Some students of Ignatius Ajuri University of Education have called for improved security at its main campus in Rumel-Mini. It followed a now viral video showing police arresting some students suspected to be cultists. Some eyewitness told correspondent Nnamdi Samwala that the suspects were allegedly mounting guard for the leader of their cult group, who wrote exams on Monday before they were arrested. The eyewitnesses said the suspects were seen with guns, axes, and machetes.
The 001 was in the exam hall writing his exam. So they were actually waiting for him outside before the chaos started. The gunshots drew many people's attention. When they searched the car, the first thing they brought out was an axe. And the boys were still claiming rights that as students of Ignatius is not a bad thing. The next thing that came out of the car was machetes. Then they checked their bag and saw a pistol with some bullets inside.
The 001 been a right exam. I can't hear gunshots.
And 23rd during the University SUG Week, Gin Carnival, and Cultural Days. When contacted, Vice-Chancellor of IAUE, Professor Okechukwu Onuchukwu, confirmed the incidents, adding that the suspects are currently at the police headquarters and that security has been beefed up at the institution.
We are working directly with SSS, we're working with police to ensure that we stop them. Only very few of them are causing these attacks. And they do it in conjunction with their partners from other universities. We have this of security. The main gate now, the new gate, is the one we are using open. This back one, we locked it completely. And then the pedestrian way, we open it in the morning from 6 o'clock to 10. Then at night, around 8 o'clock, we lock the main gate and then open this one, our old gate here.
President Bola Tinubu says the establishment of state police is unavoidable. The president, who said this when he received a delegation of Katsina indigenes, led by Governor Diko Rada, said that it's part of his administration's efforts to strengthen security across the country. The president also directed security agencies to reassess their operations in Katsina State, which has witnessed a spike in banditry. The news continues after the break.
The executives and members of the Intellectuals Club of River State extend their heartfelt congratulations to Professor Prince Chinedu Mom, DSSR, on your appointment as the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Environment and Technology, Ogoni, River State. We have no doubt that your exemplary track record will yield outstanding results. Honorable Charles Mobudu and Mrs. Ethel Kinika, on your victory and subsequent inauguration as Chairman and Vice Chairperson of Ikore Local Government Area, your ability to deliver good governance is unwavering. Honorable Chinedu Odu, on your victory and your subsequent inauguration as Councillor representing Ward 7, Omawa, will thank President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GTON for recognizing our sons. As our motto says, try and try again. We expect our distinguished members to continue making positive impacts. This is signed by Engineer Kingsley Nyemezu, President, and Dr. Steve Wogu, Secretary, the Intellectuals Club of
University. Welcome back. On the international scene, hundreds of women wearing pink and wielding broomsticks marched to parliament in Indonesia's capital on Wednesday to protest against police abuses and wasteful government spending. Protests in Jakarta and other key cities have stretched into their second week, fueled by anger over cost of living issues and lavish perks for members of parliament. They turned violent after a young motorcycle taxi driver, Afan Kurniawan, was killed when he was run over by a police vehicle. As protests intensified, President Prabowo Subianto said he would cancel a trip to Beijing to attend China's massive military parade, but he was seen posing for a group photo on Wednesday alongside President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin. On the news this evening, you heard the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt adjourned the suit challenging appointments of RISEC chairman and members. Stakeholder Henrietta Abiba has questioned the state government's flood rescue plans after the use of helicopters in a simulation exercise. Suspected cult scare at the Juri University has sparked student security concerns. President Bola Tinubu has hinted at the creation of state police, and on the foreign scene, hundreds of women have protested police abuses and wasteful spending in Indonesia. The news was edited by Onyeka Chiwonsu. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I'm Sam Chinedu. Thanks for listening.